Welcome to Treon's Realm. Today we're going to look into expanding the storage of a Nintendo Switch. Now, while the Switch is a great system, and generally speaking, almost all the games read directly off of the cartridges, an inevitable thing that you're going to run into is that you're going to run out of digital space on the system. Whether that's for downloading demos, whether that's for downloading patches, or in some cases where you have to fully install the game onto the system. Now, by default, with the exception of the newer Switch OLED, all previous versions of the Switch, this includes the Switch Lite, the original version of the Switch, and the newer V2 model with a longer battery life, they all have a 32 gig storage. Now, the operating system takes up a little bit of space on that storage, so from a usability standpoint, you have about 26 gigabytes of space that's actually available to you for installing games and putting patches on the system. You will find, depending on the type of gamer that you are, that a lot of times you'll eat through this space pretty quick. A lot of the bigger third parties, they have a pretty dirty tactic where they only put part of the game on the cartridge and then they force you to download the rest. And sometimes that even means larger than what's on the base system. So if you're using your Switch on a regular basis, I would definitely recommend expanding your storage. Currently, my personal recommendation is to look for a 256 gigabyte micro SD card. The brand that I find the most safe and has been tested and is actually backed by Nintendo would be the SanDisk Ultra. This is the one that Nintendo actually brands themselves and actually puts their little icons on. You can get away with 128 gig, but I think you'll find you'll run through that pretty quick. The 256 seems to strike a nice balance between cost versus how much storage you're getting, but it is very possible that the 512 could come down in price enough to make that a more viable option. The 1 terabyte micro SD cards are pretty expensive still at this point, so I would keep yourself at around 256, generally speaking. Now, the Switch is fully capable of doing 2 terabytes, but I don't believe that they've started producing those cards yet. Now, first things first, you can't just jam it in there while the system's in sleep mode. Nintendo doesn't recommend it, and it can actually cause issues with the storage medium itself. So what you want to do is on the top of the system where the power button is, you want to hold the power button for 5 seconds. Hold it long enough and a menu will come up that gives you an option for sleep mode, power options, and close. You want to choose power options and choose turn off. This will fully shut down the system. Once this has been done, you want to flip the system over, and right underneath the kickstand, if you pull that up, you will see a slot there for the micro SD card. You take your micro SD card, you put it in, and you push it in until you feel it click into place. The label will be facing up. Now, in the case of the Switch OLED, it's a little bit different. It's kickstand panel. You lift that up and you will see that it's actually set at a horizontal angle instead of vertical like on the other systems. Works the same way though. Just be a little bit careful because it can be a little tricky getting it to slide in there correctly. Again, you push it all the way in until you feel it click into place, and once it's locked in, you can either close the panel on the back of the OLED or close the kickstand on your standard Switch. Hold the power button for a second and you will see that it kicks on. If this is a new micro SD card, the system will prompt you to format the card. You want to make sure that you choose this option because it will format it specifically for your system. Once it's in there, if you want to see how much storage space you have, you want to go to the system settings, scroll down to data management, and you will see there's your system memory on the left and your micro SD card on the right. Now, some people don't know this, but another thing I'll let you know is that the Nintendo Switch does not ever store your save data on the micro SD card, so you don't have to worry about your save data being lost if you lose your micro SD card. Only the game patches, installations, that type of stuff gets stored on the micro SD card. By default, every single save function of a game, all the save files and everything, are on the core system memory. You even have to go a little out of the way to find it. But if you scroll down under data management to the very bottom, you'll see delete save data. If you click on that, it'll show you every save file on your system. It also shows you how much space it is. And if you click on each one, you actually see the save for each individual profile that you have on your system. So let's say you have your profile, you may have a family member's profile on there. all of them are saved individually from each other. Nintendo did a good job of safeguarding so that you don't accidentally delete it. You would have to actually click on the file, delete all save for this software, and it'll actually keep the delete save data button grayed out for a couple seconds until it actually lights up and lets you choose to delete the save data. It'll also tell you that it can't be recovered once it's been deleted. As I said, for most gamers, I would say a 256 gig micro SD card will be more than enough for what you need unless you get into having a massive collection of games, or you're doing a lot of games digitally. Now, digitally, a lot of games will eat up that space really quick if they're larger third-party titles. For example, stuff like NBA 2K or the Borderlands series, or something like Mortal Kombat 11. These take up very large amounts of space, and in those situations, you probably want to lean more towards something like a 512 or a 1 terabyte card. But seeing as the Switch reads directly off of the cartridges, physical is actually a better option when it comes to saving space. If this video helped you and you'd like to see more, please subscribe and hit that like button. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later.